Good morning. You want to see how he made this little display case to put fire water in? Fancy fire water bottles? Stay tuned, because that's what we're going to do today. Oh, welcome to another Memphis Monday 288, week 28 of our 6th year. Today we're going to build a fire water display case. The story is people sometimes ask me, can I get you anything for the project you just made? And of course I won't take any money, but if they want to buy me a bottle of whiskey, I'll take that. So anyway, so now I got a little collection of whiskey bottles, and so I want to make a display case for them. But let's knock off the chit chat and get to work. Anyway, sometimes when I do projects for people, they buy me a bottle of fancy whiskey. There's some Crown Royal and this and that. But the problem is, and I just started putting them up in this display case here. This display case is not large enough. It's not deep enough, and it's not tall enough to put 2 rows of bottles in. So I'm going to build a new case. Drawing of what I envision. It'll be just a 4-sided square box. It's going to be about 13 inches. I originally was going to go with 16, but I'm going to go with 13. And then it's going to have these flat panel doors on the front. And then halfway through it'll have another shelf right in the center. Here's a picture of just the carcass. It's going to have rabbits on the corners, rabbits for the back, a dado right through the center of the sides to receive the shelf. This is my cut list. My cut list is a little bit more detailed than most because I like to put all the joints in and kind of build it in my head before I even start. But from this I can tell that I need 2 boards 30 inches long, 2 more boards 30 inches long, and 1 more board 30 inches long. So I need 5 boards 30 inches long. Okay, here are the 5 pieces that make up the carcass, but there's one more thing we gotta do here on this stock. We gotta make sure we don't forget to do it. And that one thing is we have to make sure that we narrow this center shelf here. It's only going to be 11 3/4 instead of a foot, because we've got to leave room for the back that's going to be set in dados around the sides and top and bottom. So let's cut that down to 11 3/4. Here in our drawing, these side pieces will have a dado and a rabbit on each end. What we're doing now on the table saw is this rabbit right up here and down here. So I've got my setup, and what I'm doing is putting a 3/8 inch set my blade at 3/8 of an inch. So I'll make this rabbet and the dado 3/8 of an inch deep. On double check my setup, here I did a practice piece. Here's the rabbet that we're going for, and the top and bottom then will sit directly in that rabbet. Here's my setup with the sacrificial fence, and it's brought right up to the edge of my dado blade. And then when I run my piece through, it'll put the the rabbet right on the edge. Here I got you zoomed in. You can see that outer blade right there, or inner blade, is exactly lined up with the side of that fence. I got those rabbets. These are the sides here. Now I have to put a dado down the center of each one. To check my setup and practice a little bit, I made this practice piece, and the dado, this is our center panel. That's our top and bottom. Now the reason that dado's 3/8, it's 3/8 deep for all three, is because these three panels are the same length. So this is the dado we're cutting right now. I kept the same depth for my dado blade, and I set this distance here from the fence to the center of the dado blade is exactly 15 inches. Run it through like this. So a little dry fit up here before we put in our last rabbet. I got to put a rabbet along the inside of the sides, or the top, the bottom, and the sides. And remember, we cut this a 1/4 inch short. Now what I like to do is I like to go along and mark the inside where I want those rabbets, so I don't get confused. I've never seen anybody else do that. I don't think it's necessary, but I do it anyway because I get confused easy. Now same procedure as the other we did. I got the sacrificial fence and got it all dialed in here. So let's do one of these. I marked this edge, so now there's no confusion about where to put that thing. Got the back cut out, but before we install it, I want to put a liner in the back. You can see this, a red liner, and this one's got a red liner, this one's got a blue liner. But I want to do a better job. These were normally prototypes and stuff I did for myself, and I didn't even care. But this one, I want the liner to fit better. See that gap? So what I'm going to do to get the thing to fit better is attach my fabric to the back before I install it, and that should be a better result. And then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and finish. I don't want to put this in until I finish the inside of the box, because I don't want to get any stain or anything on this fabric. And I don't know, should I just lay it flat down on there? Or, yeah, let's just try it. I can always do another one. If I screw this up. I didn't iron this fabric. My theory was that I could get the wrinkles out at this stage. I tacked the box together, and we got that bottom cut out. I'm putting a trim on now, and I've given you this takeaway before, but if you have the option, when you install trim, if you could turn your cabinet up on its back like this, so it's easier to put on when it's flat like this. Well, back to my, remember all the trouble we've had with wood filler. I'm back to this big pot deal now. I don't think this is the most efficient way or the best way, but I like to fill these holes up as I go. That way you don't get into into an assembly line mode. I'm installing the center trim with pocket screws. The center trim doesn't carry any weight. It's just to separate the doors, fill the space between the doors. This isn't a new idea. This is the way it's done in a lot of cabinets. Now, I've got the trim all on there. You can see the bottom's not on yet. We won't put the bottom on until we sand it and stain it and all that business. Now we need to work on the doors. The front is going to be covered by two flat panel boards. They'll have mitered edges stuck together with pocket screws. and the front here, the panel portion, will be covered, will be Lexan. The doors we're making are similar to these. Well, they're similar to all the drawers we make. But to get this panel in, right there, we have to put a dado, a rabbet, all the way around on the inside of the door. You remember this setup we had for the rabbets we did for the case. So I could use this same kind of setup to put the rabbets in the material for the doors, but we'll do it a different way. I'll show you how. Now, one of the problems of doing it this way is I got these long, almost 8-foot strips of material, and it's hard to run it through there. You can do it with these clamps on there, and I don't have a better system than that. So these clamps and stuff get in the way. So I'm going to take the clamps and the sacrificial fence off, and what I'll do then is simply adjust my fence so that I get the rabbet where I want it. So I got all the pieces cut out for the doors. Now I need to put pocket holes. I'll do that offline. Put pocket holes in all 4 corners and round them over and this and that. So let me get to that. Putting together our flat paneled doors. I'm putting together with these pocket screws. The thing you got to remember about pocket screws, one of the things, is you got to make sure the panels are flat. There's no, vertical difference. They have to be flush with one another. Which is an obvious statement, obviously, but they have to be flat. But what happens if you don't clamp them down? When you try to drive your screw in, the screw will jack it up and it'll get cattywampus on you. What I'm doing is I'm going ahead and put some little bit of finish on the doors and the case, because before I install the glass and the back, I want the finish to be dry. So I'll bring you back when something exciting happens. Well, it's about drum roll time. I put a little poly on it. Now let's flip it over on its back or on its front and put the back on it. Well, here's our back. Remember we put that material on it. Now we'll just I'll mark the center line here. I need to mark that center line because so I can put some staples down through this center here. I'm not using any glue, but I am using slightly larger staples to put this in. Kind of angling them in because I don't want them to blow out. Well, now let's set it up and see what the inside looks like. And then you can see that by putting that liner on that back before we installed it, made those corners nice and tight and neat. Another design feature of this thing is the shelf. I mean, this is 3/4 inch plywood, so it's not going to be flimsy, but it's still super rigid because it's held up by this. It's held up by this a vertical piece here, and it's also nailed at the back. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to put it over on its back, and we'll worry about the doors. I already put the glass in one of the doors. I'll show you how I did that. Remember back in the day we used plexiglass. This is Lexan. I think plexiglass was also a brand name, but they claim this is better, costs more. I've transferred the measurements for my opening for the glass and transfer it to this Lexan. One of the good things about this Lexan is it's real forgiving when it comes to cutting it. You can cut it about any way you want. I don't think I've ever broke a piece of this like you do with plexiglass. It's a little more rubbery or something. I'm fixing to put the glass in, but I want to show you what we're going to be doing. See those little black nubs there all around the edge? Those you know, those things, they're little pins or wedges. You see them on picture frames and stuff sometimes. I have a tool that inserts those. Let's go do it. So first thing I do is take the plastic off of it, which sometimes is not as easy as it sounds. This is the easy side. This side here sometimes is contrary, but it will come off. Here it comes. Now this stuff isn't as good as glass. It's about as clear as glass when it's new, but it scratches, and you know it's not. You know, if you want to do it right, you do this with glass, not Lexan. But I figure it's going to be used in the shop. Okay, now for these little pins. This is the little gun that shoots them. Normally used for picture frames. We're going to try it here though. Now these little pins, you can press them down. They're flexible. You probably on the picture frame notice that you can bend those back and take the picture out or the glass out. These are flexible, and what a fellow's got to do is after you stick them in, you put them in at an angle and then you bend them down. Now you don't have to hold this glass in with the wedges. You can hold it in with trim. That works real good. And I'm just doing this for a demonstration. You can also hold it in with screws. It's one of the good things about Lexan. You can drill through it if you're real careful. Make sure you get your hole big enough for the screw, because if you don't, the screw will wedge out and crack the Lexan. Then you just screw it in. Here's a look we're going for on the doors with the gold knob, gold hinges. We've done a lot of hinges in the past. I'll just skip over that, and I'll get those last hinges on and we'll be on a roll. Well, that does it for Memphis Monday 288, our fire water display case. You know, sometimes projects just turn out, you know what I mean? And I must say that I'm real satisfied with this. Well, that'll do it for Memphis Monday 288, building the fire water display case. You know, we did a lot of different things, and as a matter of fact, the current video length is about an hour. I need to cut that back to 20 minutes, so it might seem a little choppy. But I don't know, a few weeks ago we were saying we weren't really satisfied with this or that. I can't remember what the thing was, but when you have those experiences, it just primes you for when things actually work out. And I think this fire water display case, kind of a joke, but you know, that little display case would be appropriate for a lot of different things. You could even put lights and stuff back in there. Okay, like, favorite, share, comment, all the stuff you do. But most important, make sure you're back here next week for another exciting Memphis Monday. Thanks for playing along.